Hey, we're back in the room, session one. So as I was editing footage on my iPad, Final Cut Pro iPad version here, I realized I can, provide a quick EQing tutorial on raw audio. In the room, we had one of those little Zoom, I think it's Q8n, Q8n-4K model, and we were running it XY pattern, stereo pattern. You can equip those little units with different mic, what would you call it? Different mic polarity patterns. But we were using the stock stereo little mic capsule that comes with it. So right off the bat, we can knock off room noise with a low shelf at 55 hertz. And that starts to clean up your low rumble. Maybe you've got an AC unit running in the background. You can run it at a low shelf at 55 hertz and attenuate at -10 dB. But for me, this is what worked while I was editing audio for Back in the Room. Beyond 55 shelf, we can then change our EQ from shelf to peak or bell at 95 hertz. This is where I would start to boost rather than attenuate, because at around 95 you start to define your bass instruments, whether that be bass guitar, keyboard, left hand keyboard, but this is your bass definition at around 95 hertz. But you would use your ears and sweep your frequency band to see where that resonant peak is, but around 95 is where you get that bass definition. Moving on to band number 3, we've got mud reduction at 250 hertz. I would attenuate at around -4 to 5 dB, because as you start to add more instrumentation, people get louder, instruments get louder, whether that be in a mix or in a live room setting. Mud sits at around 250 hertz. So you would start to pull down here, and rather than boost everything else, attenuate first is a good rule of thumb to allow for other instrumentation to come through the mix. Band number 4, we can then start to define presence, whether that be a snare hit or a guitar or instrument. In fact, the vocal range sits at around 1,000 hertz. I've got 1.8 kilohertz. If translated to hertz is 1800. This is where you can start to boost at around 2 dB to define your instrumentation or vocal range. Vocal at around 1,000, 1800 for instrumentation. Band number 5, we've got 4.5 kilohertz. This is your cymbal wash. I would attenuate at anywhere between 3 to 4 dB. If you've ever been in a room with a live drum kit, you know that cymbal wash can be overpowering, and that will translate into a mix as well. So rather than again, it's the inverse of the mud, where you would attenuate to allow for other instrumentation to poke through the mix. You would attenuate at the cymbal wash as well, so that you leave room for instrumentation and air. Which leads me to band number 6. We've got air and openness at 10 kilohertz. This is where you would boost at around 2 dB, plus 2 dB for your clarity in the mix. And then we start to get into dog whistle territory, where you would attenuate or reduce at -1 to, I would say, -2 to 3 even, at 700 hertz, because nobody needs that ice pick in their ear when they're listening to your music. So I hope this helps if you've run into a situation where you've got a EQ live room audio, or you're trying to broad stroke a mix for your own music. these generalizations tend to work for me every time. So, give it a try. Hope this helps.